Welcome back to my channel. It's been a second. If you saw the title, you're late. Are you serious? Yes, sorry. I am going to be doing my February, March, and April reading wrap up. I know it's been a while, okay? Izzy, you're going to be doing a monthly thing. I get it, okay? School's over, bitch. So I'm ready to crank out these YouTube videos again. So let's just hop on in. The first books I'm going to be talking about are from the Cruel Prince series. Also, if you see these little like things right here, that means they're library books. I actually use the library quite a lot. So if you see this, it means it's from the library and I don't have the physical copy with me currently. Two books that I read from the Cruel Prince series were The Wicked King and The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black. Is that her name? This is the second and the third book of the Cruel Prince series. I actually read Cruel Prince, the first one, in January, so these are the ones that I read in February. Overall, I love this series. I think it's so interesting. It's about this girl named Jude who is living in the fairy world, and wait, hold on, let me back up real quick. Her parents are killed by this like warlock fairy guy, and basically kidnaps her sister and her twin sister into going into the fairy world. There's just a bunch of like magical creatures and stuff, which you would think would be all mystical and fun, but it's not. They're all fairies and they're all dicks, and they all hate Jude and her twin sister because they're mortals and they suck. And she kind of just starts taking over the world of fairy, and it's really interesting and it's really good. I gave the second book 4 stars and the third book, or the last book, 5 stars. 5 out of 5. 5 stars just in general for the series. Next, I read The Heart Principle by Helen Hogan. To be honest, I don't remember what this book was about. A woman struggling with burnout learns to embrace the unexpected in the man she enlists to help her in this New York Times best-selling romance. Oh! I remember now. It's basically about this girl. She's going through burnout and she's a violinist, and she like got really popular off like YouTube or something when she meets this guy, and this kind of guy kind of helps her overcome it a little bit, kind of lets her forget about it, and they got together, and it's really cute. I actually remember really liking this book. I gave it 4 stars. I don't know what else to say about that one because I also don't remember half these books. I'm sorry. The next book I read was Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I gave this book 2 stars, and to be honest, if you come for me because it's Sally Rooney, I'm sorry, but I do not like her writing style. It's just confusing. Her writing style is very interesting because she doesn't put her characters like conversation in quotes, which is the proper grammar to do. It's kind of implied that this character is speaking and then this character is speaking, but it's kind of confusing to, I don't know why she writes like that. That's just, to me, that's, sorry, my hands are really sweaty. She'll have like these big ass paragraphs where the characters are speaking in it, and you're like, you don't realize that they're speaking, and you're like, oh shit, I need to reread this because I didn't even realize they were talking during this. So maybe it was just not my kind of thing. Plus, I also thought the book premise was just boring. Like, it was just, I just wanted to read something from Sally Rooney. This book was incredibly boring. I was bored almost the entire time. I had to DNF it because I was, 1, getting into a reading slump, and 2, it was just boring. It was so boring. It's basically about like these 4 people, and they're both couples, like they both couple up and stuff, and honestly I don't even know what happened during it because it was just so boring. Like, nothing significant happened. Like, literally couldn't tell you because nothing significant happened in this book, so I gave it 2 stars. Next book is Anna and the French Kiss by Stephanie Perkins. I feel like this is a very classic YA romance story from like the 2010 era, probably 2009, I don't know. It's giving me that vibe. I thought it was so cute. For some reason, I have like this very distinct memory of this YouTuber like long time ago. This YouTuber talking about why she hated Anna and the French Kiss. I don't know why that's such a distinct memory, because then I read it and I was like, I don't know why she hated it so much. I just thought it was so cute. Like, it's definitely like a teen romance kind of thing. It's not anything super deep. It's just like a fun book to kind of get you out of a reading slump, because that's what I was in because of Beautiful World, Where Are You? So I just thought it was cute. I liked the premise of Anne and the French Kiss. It's about this girl and her father is like this very famous author, and for like publicity slash status reasons he sends her to like a private boarding school in Paris, and it just kind of tells about her life and how she meets this guy. It's like great, and I actually liked it. I thought it was super cute. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars because I just thought it was super cute and I liked it, and not much else to it. Next book I read was The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. This book was interesting. This was all over Book Talk, and it was just okay to me. It wasn't like this amazing spin on what happened and this amazing like murder, not murder, no one got murdered, but like this amazing like mystery that got unfolded and everything that happened. Basically, the last thing he told me is about this girl. I don't even remember her name. Can I hold on? I gotta look her name up. Hannah, yeah, Hannah. Her name's Hannah. Of course, they're all named Hannah. I don't know why I even checked. Her husband, she like marries her husband who already has this daughter, so she's a stepmom. All of a sudden, one day he just disappears and he gives this note to her that says protect her, and she's just really confused and she's like, what is going on? Like, why would he do this? And then she hears word that his place of business is like a little corrupt and he's like running away from it, and he did all this bad stuff to give them money or whatever. And you know what, it was just very predictable. I think the writing was good. It's just I didn't like care for the story. It just kind of was like, this feels like every single mystery I have ever read where she's like, I don't understand why he would have done this. He couldn't have done this. There's no way he could have done this. I would have seen it. I would have known. Blah, blah, blah. Like, bitch, obviously you didn't. But the ending was actually really sweet and really cute. So it was okay. I gave it 3 stars. It's just an okay book. I would still read it, but it's like, it's okay. It's not like a revolutionary book. Next book I read was The Selection by Kass. I wanted to read The Selection for so long. I feel like everybody reads this in like middle school or junior high, and then all of a sudden it's like becoming like super popular again, and I have never heard of The Selection. I have never even read The Selection until I heard about it again, and I was like, that sounds interesting. That sounds like a dystopian I would have loved whenever I was really into the dystopian books. So I'm gonna read it. It's basically about this girl named America, and there's like this caste system going on, and she is like, number 1 is like the prince and the king and all that, and it goes from 1 all the way to 7, and 7s are like prostitutes. That's why is that the first one that came in, like homeless people, prostitutes. I don't know why that was the one that came to my head. There is like this bachelor kind of situation where the prince is going through the selection, which he selects like 30 girls from all over wherever she is, and it's literally like The Bachelor but in dystopian terms. It's really interesting. I actually really liked it. I gave it 4 stars. Yes, I gave it 4 stars. I really liked it. It was good. Didn't like love it, but it was still really good, and I did really like it, and I would read it. I read Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren, and this is so cute. It's friends to lovers again, or it's more like they're kind of like childhood friends to lovers, and I think that one is like, I think childhood friends to lovers is so stinking cute. I ranked this 4 stars. Okay, well, GoodReads doesn't want to work right now, so I can't, just look it up, okay? Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Everyone's heard about it. It's really good. Look it up. I'm not gonna tell you. That is everything I read in February. Now we're gonna go into March. I'm gonna be a little bit quicker about these because I didn't read too much in March. Oh wait, no, I take that so back. The first book I read in March was East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Okay, I gotta rant about this like book a little bit, okay? I have to talk about it a little bit because it's probably one of my favorite classics I have ever read. I would do a report on this in a heartbeat. It's a little bit of a thick book. It's like 600-700 pages or something like that, but it's so good. It's so good. Basically, it's kind of a retelling of the Bible, like the story of Adam and Eve a little bit, and the story of what's the fuck? Obviously I don't know the Bible. Cain and Abel. Oh my god. Stupid. Basically the story of like Cain and Abel and Adam and Eve. It's like a retelling of it. It is, but it isn't in some sense. Like that's just a short version to tell you. It's really, really, really good. John Steinbeck is such an amazing author. You know why? Because he makes you hate characters. Like if you know, you know. Kathy, she makes my blood boil. I've never felt so, is that a bug on my wall? I've never hated a character so strongly in my life. Like if I ever seen her, I would just beat her ass. You need to read East of Eden by John Steinbeck. It is a bigger book, but promise me, you should read it. It's so amazing and it's so good, and the characters are so real. 5 stars. Immediately 5 stars. It's so good. I'm obsessed with this book. The next book I have is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a book I actually own. How cool of me. It's good. It's good. I liked it. I gave this book 3 stars. It's not like an amazing, like, it's not the most amazing love romance book I've ever read, but I did really enjoy it. It's basically about this girl named Lucy and her and Josh. Yes, Lucy and Josh, they are co-workers and they sit across from each other and they're like the assistants to like their bosses. They basically hate each other. They kind of like terrorize each other. They have like a lot of HR complaints on them. But basically it's an enemies to lovers story. To be honest, enemies to lover romance stories, like solely romance stories, are not my favorite trope slash books. I just think they're okay in general. All they do is hate each other for like 2 seconds and then all of a sudden they love each other. So, and this kind of felt the same in some sense to me, but it was still good. I really enjoyed it. It was still a good read. 3 stars because it's not the most like, I don't know, it's not the most like interesting plot. Like they're co-workers and then all of a sudden they're dating. I don't know. Next book I read was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This book was so good. Obviously, I love a good murder mystery story. This book was so good, and I actually really want to read the second book. It's basically about this girl named Pip, and she is kind of unraveling the story of this murder of this girl, and she kind of believes that the person who murdered her didn't actually murder her, and he was set up. And so she kind of uncovers everything, and she tries to figure out what happened, and a lot of crazy shit happens, and it's really good. I actually really like this. This is a great YA mystery, and I ranked it 4 stars. I really loved it. It was really good. Next I have The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I feel like everybody's read this book by now, but The Deal is a romance story about Hannah and Garrett. That's his name. Hannah and Garrett. How they get together really is Garrett needs a tutor for this class, and he notices this girl, Hannah, who's like really smart about this class, and he wants her to tutor him, and that's how they kind of get to know each other and stuff. It's just a nice, like I said, nice fluffy story to get you out of a reading rut if you need it. It was good. It was just nice. It was fluffy. It was cute. There's some smut in it. There's some nasty stuff in there, so and it's a hockey romance. This was good. I really loved this story. I gave it 4 stars. Not, like I said, not my favorite, not like 5-star worthy, but 4 stars. Totally still good, and I loved it. It was so good. The last book I read in March was Hook, Line, and Sinker by Tessa Bailey. This is the second book in the It Happens One Summer duology. I guess it's a duology, but it's not really like a series. Like you could read them on their own. I would read the first one, then read Hook, Line, and Sinker, the second one, because the second one talks about the little sister named Hannah. Why are all of their names Hannah? Oh my god. I'm just now noticing like all of their names are Hannah. I thought this book was good. Not as good as It Happened One Summer. I just think I love the grumpy sunshine little trope. I just think it's cute. But I do love friends to lovers too, because I feel like it's more authentic kind of way to start a relationship than enemies to lovers. I'm so sorry. Enemies to lovers is not my favorite trope. I know a lot of people like it. It's not my favorite trope because it's so unrealistic, and it's like, this would never fucking happen. If you hated somebody that much, you would not be their lover. I'm so sorry. I think I ranked it 3 stars on GoodReads, but to be honest, it probably is more of a 4-star read. I still thought it was really cute, really good. It's Tessa Bailey's though, you know you're gonna get some steamy scenes. You're gonna get some steamy scenes too. So, period. Now we're done with February and March. Now we're going into April. The first book I read was The Tattooist of Auschwitz by Heather Morris. I feel like this is a very popular story. It's about this guy named, oh, what's his name? What's his actual, oh, I don't remember. I listened to the audiobook of this story. I didn't actually read it. Obviously, he is a Jew and they capture him and he is going to Auschwitz to work for them. He is the one who has to imprint the numbers on people's skin, so that's why he is called the Tattooist of Auschwitz, because he is supposed to be the one to tattoo the numbers to other prisoners, Jewish prisoners. I think like any World War II, like any like Auschwitz or like a Holocaust themed like stories in books and stuff, they're just all gonna be sad. Literally like all the other stories. I've read some World War II books before. This is not my favorite. It's good. I honestly think the audiobook is fairly good. It's short, but I think that the way that like some of the characters were not developed as well as I had hoped, or some of the things that like in plot that did not make sense. I read a lot of reviews on this book basically saying how there were some plots that we get started but never finished, and I totally understand that. I mean, how can you not feel for the characters that have to go through that kind of stuff? But it's not like the best Holocaust book or Auschwitz book that I've ever read, but it's still good. I gave it 3 stars. It's still good. I would still read it. So the next book I read was The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. I actually brought this with me on my trip to London and in Paris, and I read this on the plane and it was really good. Is it my favorite story ever? No, but it's about these 2 twin girls that are black women, but they are white passing. One of them lives their life as a black woman, and then the other twin lives as a white passing woman. As a white woman. This is based off in like the 1950s and 1960s, and I think it goes from 1950s to the 1970s because it also talks about one of the girl's daughters in the story. It's very interesting to see how blatantly different that these 2 women had went through. I don't want to say so much on this, and I don't want to say the wrong thing about this, because I think this book, what it was intended to share, what it's intended to show, showed. It shows the complete difference, that the privileges that white women have to focus and the disregard that a lot of black women had to go through, the blatant racism that black women have to go through. But still, there were points in the story where it was fairly boring. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't the most like thrilling story. I think it's just a nice literary novel where it's just supposed to show you the differences of race, and it's still a good book. I rated it 4 or 3 stars? I don't really remember. 4 stars. I ranked it 4 stars. Plus this cover is beautiful. Like, oh my god, I love this cover. It's beautiful. Next book I read was The One by Kass, which is the 3rd book of the selection series. You're like, Izzy, what happened to you reading the 2nd book? I didn't read the 2nd book. I actually thought this book was the 2nd book. It was not. It was the 3rd book, and I was low-key confused, but I finished it, and I'm not gonna read the 2nd book. It was cute. It's good. It's just the 3rd book of the selection series. It tells about like the final process of the selection and all the crazy shit that's happened and all that fun stuff. Was I a little confused? A little bit. I had to Google some things, but it was good. I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. The last book I read was Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. We love this book. It's so good. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. She's one of my favorite authors, like just in general. 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is literally one of my favorite books. And this book was no different. It's an amazing book. If you've read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, there's this character that is mentioned called Mick Rivera, and this book is basically about his kid. It will flash back from timelines, like it has dual timelines. It'll have when he was like becoming like really famous and stuff versus the present, and they're like getting ready for a party, and this party is like super like famous, like if you know you know kind of party, and it just kind of goes off the walls and it's like a little crazy. I really love this story. It was so good. I liked this more than I thought I would, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It's not, honestly I'd probably give it like a 4 point, maybe a 4.5. Not fully 5 stars. I'm not fully obsessed with it, but it's still such a good story. 4.5 stars, I feel like that's fair. Thank you for listening to me ramble about the books that I read for the past 3 months. I am going to try, I'm not going to promise nothing, but I'm going to try and put my May ones up as soon as possible. If you want to check out my Instagram, my GoodReads account, my TikToks, my other channel, all linked in the description. I feel like I never promo. Thank you for watching, and we'll ramble about something else quite soon. See you later.